Right, let's make sure we are in the right place. Okay. Yay! All right. We are using a whole new method. So if you're coming on, can you let us know? I've got it open in Facebook and I've got it open in StreamYard. So can somebody comment and let us know that we are good? And I'm just about to invite the beautiful Michelle. Miss Maya, she is sitting ready to go. Okay, there's a comment. Let us know that we are good. Okay, loving your earrings. Thank you. Yay! It's been a little bit interesting trying to get technology working. I almost wanted to just do a, oh, here's Michelle. Hey, Maya. I keep calling you Michelle, I don't know why. I wanted to just post on Facebook and say, hey, everybody, can you just stay off for the next 30 minutes because we've got some interesting and some important stuff to do. So really, fingers crossed, guys, that we stay connected because Maya over in beautiful Bali is having a few technical details. And yeah, we're just sort of moving through it. She's a little bit frozen at the moment. So I'm going to shush and see if she comes through now. Hey, beautiful Maya. There she is. Can you hear me? Can't hear me? It's a little bit delayed. Hi, everybody. I see everybody coming on. I've got my phone here and I've got this. Maya, beautiful, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. It's all right. It's all part of it. Getting these new technical. Usually we're together, so it's a piece of cake. We're sitting beside each other, but of course we're just going to have to move through what's happening now. So I can see you, gorgeous one, but I can't hear you. So how's everybody going? Everybody, while we're waiting for the connection to come right, how is everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling right now? So even more so, how is your heart? Because today is all about the heart. How's the heart feeling for you right now? In one word, if you can explain it. Let's go. Let's get some interaction here and let's get some movement. God, these make a noise, don't they? Okay, I think I've worked it out. Maya? Anxious. Hopeful. Nervous. Lots of different feelings coming through. Nervous and excited. How is your heart feeling right now in one word? Open. Oh, that's beautiful. Disconnected. Yep, we're definitely covering that today, Maria. Frigidity. Oh, fidgety. They said frigidity. Fidgety. Maya, do you want to go out and then come back in again, honey? Resistant. How is your heart? One word, guys, to describe it. Now, we are actually going to keep, well, this one might go a little bit longer as we're just sort of working out our beautiful new technology. And it was working perfect before. But we're going to try and keep these to 30, sort of half an hour. And if you're watching the replay, what I'm actually going to do is once we kickstart it, I'll put the time to actually rewind to, so you're not having to sit through all this. Hopeful, nice, I love it, Tracy. You know, disconnect is the one that's really resonates with me, because that's how I've been the last few days. Disconnection with, like, what the hell is going on with being observant and curious about what's coming through. Maya. Sorry, guys. I'm not too sure what's going on here. Maya, do you want to come off and then come back on again? It's your internet. You're frozen. I think what we might have to do is we might have to, yeah, she's come with it. Sort of like, because Maya, at the start of it, Maya's going to explain a lot about what's actually happening with COVID-19 and what's actually the definition and the reality of it, and really explain, you know, the overview of the heart, mind, body, and soul, and the effect it's actually having on you, and the effect it's having on Mother Earth, and the effect it's also having on community at the moment, and how we're actually feeling with where we are and why certain things are coming up. So she's got a really beautiful introduction, because she just speaks, so when she speaks about it, she speaks it from a prospect, like and this is how I like to say it, you know, like and this is where the state that we're going to talk about soon is get into a space of, it's almost like you're an eagle or you're a bird, and you're getting into that state of, you know, that you're actually flying above yourself, and you're being curious, and you're being aware, and you're actually seeing it through different eyes to what's actually going on right now, not sitting in, you know, so far in the mind and the heart and the body, which is what we're actually going to be going through. Oh, I'm addicted to the stuff. This flavor, has anyone tried it? I just went for a walk on the beach just to clear the old head, and I just had to stop and get some. So it's really important right now to be sitting in a beautiful, curious state. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. Unfortunately, Maya's not really. As you're coming on, give me a word for where your heart is right now as well, guys. There's some great words coming out here. Where is your heart sitting right now in one word? We're just going to give it a few more seconds until Maya comes up. Every day it is. Have you tried this one? Oh, wrong camera. So good. I used to not like it. Now I love it. Hang on, I've just got to, I'm really sorry, guys. This technology, she's just reloading again. I'm just going to start. Right now, this is perfect for what's happening right now. You know, you have everything that you usually have that goes so divinely, elegantly. We've got all in the flow. We know what we're doing. You know, everything is in line. We've got full control. And then something like, you know, this, what's happening around us at the moment happens, and we lose the sense of control. We lose the sense of awareness, the connection, you know, to how things actually are, and things start to gently break down. And unless we bring the awareness into things, and, you know, right now we could be going, oh, well, get off, there's no point, you know. How you react in every circumstance is a choice, and it's really important to be observant and aware of what's going on right now. So what's going on right now is beautiful Maya was opening, and she cannot get on, you know, due to technology. So, you know, you choose right now how we flow through this. So let's get into it. Let's start it. I'm loving seeing everybody giving me their one names on where their heart is. And if Maya can come back on again, then, you know, we'll get her to do the overview, to get her to really explain the deepness of what's happening with COVID-19. And if not, then she can come on after me and do a live. So, you know, you can stay on after this, and you can really understand the time, space, and location of what's actually happening right now within you. Now, I do have notes, because this is deep, expansive work, and I want to be able to explain it in a beautiful way that you can really understand from an overall objective of what's happening within yourself. And today we're doing heart. You know, we're going to cover mind, we're going to cover body, we're going to cover soul, and today is heart. And the reason why we've started with heart today is because we need to get into an observant state, and we need to get into a curious state. And if we went straight to the mind at the moment is for a lot of people, and it was for me the last few days. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my mind because I've been in a curious state and observant, and I've been bringing myself to a healing state. And the mind tends to, when we're going into that place, you're trying to analyze and you're trying to realize what's happening. So today we're doing the heart, because the heart is beautiful and we just want to open it up. The next 2 days, actually, we're doing the heart. And tomorrow we've got a meditation and a clearing for you, which is just going to be really beautiful. But today we want to bring some curiosity and some that you're observant of what's actually happening with the COVID-19 and what's actually happening from where you are now and why you're feeling this real, as you guys said, there was words that came through of resistance, fidgetness, disconnection, nervousness, but yet excitement. So nervousness, but excitement, because there's part of you that's trying to understand. There's part of you that doesn't know what's going on, because we're all sitting in such unfamiliar, uncontrollable territory, right? Are you understanding me? You're getting it. Nervous, anxious. I love that. Hopeful. We're in very, very unfamiliar territory, and we're in unfamiliar territory because things have been taken away from us, and we've become really vulnerable. Vulnerable is the biggest word that comes up for me right now, and it's the biggest thing that when it comes to the heart, it's the biggest thing that people actually find themselves in a place where they can't be vulnerable. They can't be vulnerable. They don't know how. Up until now, a lot of people, including myself, have not had the presence of people to actually be able to be fully vulnerable in our state, because people have been so busy. We've been rushing around. There's been a lot of disconnection. It's been an interesting space up until now, where people have just been so busy doing, and now we've had to stop. There's a lot of disconnection happening. There's a lot of vulnerability coming up, and people don't know how to process that. The other big thing I want to talk to you about is that you're actually in a deep state of grief right now. Does anybody feel that? Does anybody feel that they're in a real deep state of grief? Or is this the emotion that you're not realizing and you're going, holy shit, that's the missing emotion that's going on within me, and I don't actually realize, and that's why I'm finding it so difficult to process and open my heart to the understanding of what's happening now. Is anybody else feeling the grief? Also, the planetary grief, the community grief, the grief around, the grief around. Sorry, Michelle's just coming back on again. Around anticipation, the fear. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk to you about vulnerability. Now, for me, vulnerability was something that came into my field when I left Bali. I was living, in this beautiful bubble. There was no TV, there was no, I had social media, but it was not in a space of, I was disconnected from it. I mean, definitely the last week I was there. Oh yeah, I can hear you. The last week I was there, Maya and I were in full-on retreat mode. But we were like living in this beautiful bubble, and people would be saying different things about the virus, and we'd be like, got no idea. We were just, in this beautiful space of authentically connecting and sharing and helping the women that were there. And so for me, I'm just going to mute you quickly for a minute. And Maya, I'm going to finish this part and then come on and have you share the introduction part. Okay. So for me, that I really felt my vulnerabilist, and I really the bubble burst, and it burst hard for me because, I had been sitting in a place of, as I said, being completely, everything was fine. Everything was fine. We were doing the retreat and everything was fine. And when I left Bali, I felt the deepest vulnerability. It was like, and how I can connect to it, to explain it to you and maybe to resonate with you, it was actually a feeling like when my father left. It was like I was leaving this space of of being secure. You know, I had Maya with me. We were both in exactly the same space, you know, the energy, the vibration, everything. The girls that were at the retreat, it was like we had this beautiful connection. There was growth. There was just the wounds that came up when I left Maya, and I said goodbye to her, and I actually get a bit emotional about that, is I felt like I was abandoning her. And that was an emotion that I felt like with my father. And it was something that I didn't realize what was going on. And things that were coming up for me were like powerless. I was resenting the world. I was starting to go, fuck you. You know, why has this happened? My control was taken away. I had a sense of anger, which I hadn't had. You know, you've got to think about it. I went from, and a lot of people, when this happened, you went from a beautiful state of bliss to all of a sudden, what the hell's going on? You know, my heart was trying to open up to process a present event. So this is what's probably happening for a lot of you. Like your heart is opening up to try and process a certain event, but we're not knowing how to open it up. But yet what's actually happening now is we're healing a lot of past events. So there's different things that are coming up for people, different emotions, you know, like I actually felt quite violated. I was like, you know, what is going on? This is just crazy. And then I had to get into a state of actually really understanding what was happening. And, you know, I had to get vulnerable, and I had to get really, really vulnerable, because vulnerability is where you're going to grow. Am I resonating, guys? Give me some love hearts so I know if that, you know, it's really resonating with you, if you're feeling it. You know, and, you know, I had to start to realize that, you know, vulnerability is sexy. Vulnerability means we're about to grow. You know, when we can allow people within our community to really see us, to really sit with us and go, wow, you know, this is coming up for me too. We can actually start to help together to heal. And, you know, the reconnection with community is so, so, so important. So I'm actually going to stop it there, because that's the first part of what I really wanted to talk to. And I just feel that deep need to bring Maya on to explain, as I said at the start of it, you know, really what is the definition of COVID-19 and where are we actually at. So let's fingers crossed hope that she can. And then I want to share the second part with you, which I feel is going on. Ooh. Did that really resonate with you guys? You know, because, hey, Maya, because, you know, when we're in a space of different things that are happening, we have to shift and grow to the environment that's around us to heal. Here we go. Okay, so Maya is on. I'm going to shush for a while, and I'm going to let the beautiful Maya do the introduction that I spoke to you about before, that she was meant to do, just so you can get an understanding for a deeper awareness for what I'm actually speaking about. Her internet doesn't like her today. Okay, I'm muting her out, and I'm going to keep flowing. All right. Oh, hang on. So I'm getting, yes, really resonates. Yes, totally. I did get my yoga training in France, and I was immersed in for a month, and I came home to found it hard. It's like taking yoga. Yeah, it is. It is. It's that whole different circumstance shift that you can't control. I'm just going to see if Maya can hear us.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Hey, beautiful! Yes, totally. Yoga training in France, and I was immersed in for I'm just going to let you speak now, Maya. There's a little bit of a delay, guys, but it's good. Okay, she's frozen again. I'm just going to keep going, Maya. And then what I said is that you can come on afterwards and do a live stream in the group about the start of it. Okay. All right. Where was I? Vulnerability. So, yeah, so vulnerability is you know, it's when we need to switch to a place of compassion, understanding, because that's where conflict and inner conflict can be resolved. When we sit in a place of anything but compassion, understanding for what's happening within ourselves, we can actually start to, we can acknowledge it, and we can make the vulnerability steps to actually having growth within ourselves and actually having an awareness within our heart that it's okay. We can lean on others. We don't have to be alone. We can reconnect, which is what I did after when I left Bali. I actually reconnected and had a really, really beautiful conversation with Maya about what was happening with me, because, you know, my abandonment stuff all came to the surface, and I felt, as I said, powerless, resentment to the world, the control had been taken away. I was angry, I was pissed off, I was furious. And so you can imagine I went from being in it, and this is what a lot of people went from, being in this really beautiful state of bliss and, you know, being able to do things, and to all of a sudden being like, wow, what the fuck just hit me? You know, and when we allow ourselves to be seen as well, when we don't allow ourselves to be seen, a part of our, or hurt, a part of us really starts to close off, and we put shields around our heart. And, you know, we need to be honest and allow the healing to happen with where we are emotionally. And that's a really big thing, is bringing in a beautiful sense of awareness, the curiosity, the, wow, what is actually going on right now within me? Just sitting with yourself and asking these questions. And that's what I did when I got to the airport. I sat there and I went, what is going on? You know, I didn't have any attachment to the emotion. I didn't feel like I had to be guarded. I didn't feel like I had to be in a state of, oh, I'm in this happy bubble, I'm going to keep going. No, what is going on? What is happening right now? Because we need to bring awareness, because awareness is when we start to heal. And we also need to bring in and create some compassion and not judgment, because that's the other thing that's happening. And everyone's searching for the answers. We're searching for what's happening. We're searching for you know, the reconnection and the understanding of what we're going through. Are you feeling me? I mean, it's like, what the hell is happening? But when we can start to really, we can reconnect and we can understand, we can once again start to bring the awareness in and with the healing. And, you know, one of the things that resonated with me is that if I didn't really stop and find out what was going on in my heart, I was going to start reflecting on everything else. I was going to go external. I was going to go to try and blame. And this is the past me. I would go, and actually, you know, I did a little bit of it at the airport. I started blaming the virus. I started blaming the airline. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the last plane out of here. And I went into the state of, I was supposed to fly in 2 days, which I wouldn't have been able to get home to my husband. So I was looking, and the anger was building, and it was building and building and building, and my heart was being closed off more and more and more. The fear was starting to come in. The fear was coming in, and also the loss. And this is when I started to feel the disconnection and the misunderstanding of what I was going through. And I started to feel the grief. And the grief hit me like a ton of bricks. And I didn't know what it was. It was actually my husband that said to me, baby, I think you're grieving. And this is a few days ago. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how this actually happened. So what happened is when I got back, I had 14 days in isolation. And I'm an introvert, so I loved it. I didn't have any problem, because I could rebuild this beautiful bubble around me, you know, she's upside down there, the one that I had built when I was in Bali. I had this beautiful bubble. I could never rebuild it again. For 14 days, I lived in my own little happy bubble, and things were great. You know, I brought the awareness to what was going on from, you know, right from, and I'll tell you a story about when I landed as well. You know, from what happened when I left, I could actually rebuild this bubble. And then 14 days passed, and I actually didn't go out. I couldn't go out the next day because it was raining. And I was like, okay, I'm going out into the big bad world. It's time. You know, I've had my quarantine and it's all good. And we went down for a walk. And we decided to get some fish and chips. Oh God, how Kiwi did I say that? Oh my God, fish and chips. We decided to get some fish and chips, and it was like I hadn't eaten anything that was remotely bad for probably about 2-3 months. I was living with my divine nutritionist, and I was just feeding my body with the best, and it was great. And I thought, you know what? I actually had the chips, I didn't have the fish. And I was like, you know what? I really want to have some chips. So I left the house, and when I left the house, I had this really strange feeling started coming over me. I actually said to Neil at one stage, I don't know if I want to go out, because I think a part of me knew that I was about to hit straight into what was actually happening in the world, because I've been back in my little bubble. And then we were walking, and I just had all these senses and these feelings come into me, and I started to get some anxiety for the first time in a very long time. Like, I'm talking 2-3 years. I had some anxiety, and I used to suffer from massive panic attacks and anxiety. And I had anxiety starting to build, and I started looking around, and I started feeling like the Mother Earth. I started feeling everybody's sense of confusion, and I was like, what is actually happening right now, and why is this affecting me? Because everybody else is going through, and everybody's going through their part of this how they can, but for me it was like a sense of what am I feeling? What am I sensing? Why is this anxiety coming up? And I had to really sit and reflect about what was going on. And for me, I felt all these emotions coming up, like, I'd been hiding for so long. I felt shocked. I really just wanted to run and hide. I didn't want to be in what was coming on. So I felt this real sense of grief for Mother Earth, for the people, for myself. It was like I was now in the community with everybody else. I was in the thick of it. I wasn't in my happy little shield. And then I started to feel a lot of grief. I started to feel this part in my heart that just, I actually felt my heart contract. And that was really hard. And, I'd been living in this denial of, the what virus won't affect me, and then I was a little bit of anger. They're making me stay home. They're taking away my activities, and then I went through social distancing for a couple of weeks. It's going to be fine because I'm an introvert. It's all good. I know this is going to end. I have to figure out. And then I realized that what was happening is that I had to have acceptance. I had to have acceptance. If I didn't have acceptance to what is actually going on, then I wasn't going to heal, and I wasn't going to move through this. I was going to sit in the space of the denial that I was feeling. I was going to sit in the space of being shocked. I was so shocked. Like, I was shocked at what was actually going on. I was going to live in the anger and the astonishment. I was going to be, my energetic connection, my vibration just dropped, and I hit hard. And that was the place that I realized is that is where the power lies. And that is when the power lies for actually opening up your heart to actually accept and heal. Because the other thing that's happening I just want to explain what I mean by the grieving, because some people are probably like, yeah, you're safe being home. Yeah, Tracy, you're safe. I'm home. I'm safe, because that is also a programming that's happening with us at the moment. Stay safe. Stay home. Don't even get me excited. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about the grieving. So for grieving, I just want to get you to understand this is probably an emotion that you're feeling, which is very heavy on the heart. And we're feeling at the moment collectively discomfort and disconnection of the unknown. Well, that is grief. That is a sense of grief. Our hearts are hurting. And I'm going to talk about myself because, when you talk about yourself, and it's just that you can resonate and see it come from my perspective. Because I want it to resonate so that you understand, instead of sitting there going, this is what's happening, because, everybody is different as well. And some of this, people will be feeling that, yeah, they're feeling disconnection, but they don't feel feeling grief. You actually may have gone through the grieving process, and your heart may actually be a space of going, oh my God, I'm at the acceptance stage. For me, I spent 2 days in this grieving, and I'm only just feeling myself coming out. I'm only just feeling myself coming out of grief. And I'm sure there's a lot of grief process that's actually happening inside me. And I wasn't sure with the grief thing, but when I feel into it, I feel tearful. Yeah, you know, I would never think I'd be grieving right now. It's like, it's really a foreign concept. Let me explain what I mean a little bit, see if it actually resonates with you, because this is when I resonated. I resonated with this when I brought some awareness. Remember, with the awareness, we can start to heal. With the understanding, we can start to grow. And with the vulnerability of going to where we need to go to, we can actually start to have the process of allowing everything to come up in the heart, to be okay to open to the healing stage. Now, when I'm talking about grieving, I'm talking about the disconnection, disillusion. I'm talking about the discomfort to where we are right now. That's grieving. Our hearts are hurting, but we are so disillusioned by what's going on. And as we are not in control, we don't understand internally what is happening. Does that resonate? So I'm going to say it again. Our hearts are hurting, but we are so disillusioned by what's happening around us. As we do not have any control, we don't understand internally what is going on. So like any grieving process, we need to understand it before we can actually grieve. And this was for me like, oh, wow, okay. We have a sense, we feel, like for me, I was feeling a sense of heartache. But I didn't realize that it was grief. I was feeling a sense of heartache for Mother Earth, but, you know, for the people in it, for myself, for my community, for my husband, for my loved ones. I was like, I've got so much heartache coming out that it's just, I don't know how to process this. I'm getting a little bit teary-eyed because I'm still processing this, okay? And for you, this is going to be an ongoing process, but now we're bringing the awareness. I was not, I couldn't see it. And also I was grieving for the uncertainty of my future. Let's be fucking real. This is like, what is my future right now? Well, you're grieving because, you know, you're living, you know, we're grieving for the past, we're grieving for the present, we're grieving for our future. There's a lot going on inside of us right now that we don't realize what's happening. So this is where I really want to start to bring some awareness to you so you can start this process. You know, anticipation, you know, I can never say it great. Anticipation grieves. The future has so much uncertainty. You know, what is the storm that's coming? Because at the moment we're submerged with everything externally that's really telling us what we need to feel and think, and we're looking for ways to actually justify it. We're looking for ways to make sense of it. You know, we need to go internally right now. We need to allow our processes so that we can start to grieve, and we can start to grow, and we can start to reconnect. The virus is confusing the fuck out of people because we're actually seeing it from our primitive mind. We're actually seeing it from our primitive mind. So what's happening is our mind thinks something bad's happening. Oh my God, something bad's happening. Look, I've got to stay home to be safe. Oh my goodness, I've got to stay 1.5 meters away from people. Oh my God, I've got to sanitize the fuck out of my hands. You know, we're all these things that we're actually beautifully being told what to do, but we're putting so much emotional energy into it that what's happening is that our primitive mind is going, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And our sense of safety is gone. And I know for me, my sense of safety went right out the window. You know, I was feeling loss, great loss. So when when our sense of safety is gone, we can then, you know, we start to feel the loss and we start to grieve because it's that uncertainty, it's that unknown. Am I resonating? Oh, I love you too, Bex. You know, and then the next thing that kicks in, the fear and the anxiety and the loss is mixed up with the grief, and it weighs heavy on our heart, you know. And I want to just sort of say a few things that happened for me and for some of my clients and for some of the beautiful people around me. You know, the fear of the unknown, like, wow, the fear of normality, that's a fear, you know. We're so used to doing what we're doing. The fear of control, that's a really big one for people. The fear of economical toll. Like, how How am I going to get, if I'm not making money, how am I going to survive? And our primary fear is survival. Our primary fear is survival, safety, roof over our head, water, food. So when our primary fears are not being met, we go into a sense of fear. It's like, oh shit, the loss of connection. Like a lot of people can't go out. A lot of people don't want to go out. But the biggest fear that was coming up to me, and this was the collective fear. We are not used to this type of collective grief, and it's sitting in the air. We are feeling each other. It's such a deep state right now. Collectively, there is so much grief going around. And, it's not that you're going into judgment with anybody else, and certainly not me. And I know that none of you guys are going to judgment, but you're actually feeling the collective grief. And a lot of you, and I just want to make you understand a little bit deeper. Because there are some people here on here, we're all healers, we're all empaths, we all feel, and what's happening is the vibrational, and I think May's probably going to go through this, the vibrational energy of the planet is lifting the energy. The last full moon, holy shitballs, that was strong, right? It was powerful. So what's happening is collectively, without us even realizing, we're raising, and what's happening around us, we're raising the vibration collectively of Mother Earth. So things are feeling more, we're beginning more sensitive, where our hearts are in an extremely vulnerable place right now. And a lot of us already have so many masks and things over our hearts that we're not actually letting it out. We're not actually allowing our heart to be in a state of acceptance. I'm sorry, I'm going a bit longer, but I'm really in flow, and, it's okay. We did spend the first 10 minutes trying to work out technology. I hope you guys are all okay with it. So collectively, even that you don't realizing, you're actually feeling everybody else grieving. You're actually feeling everybody else grieving. You don't need to be with people. It's absolutely in the air. It's absolutely in the air. We are feeling each other. We're actually starting to connect collectively without even realizing. So we're actually starting to stop, be present, and look at our fellow sister and brother. We're actually, like, I know that today when I was out, it was a completely different experience to when I went out 4 days ago. So I actually went out this morning. For some reason, I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning. And I actually wanted to get out of the house and just clear the head. So hubby and I hopped in the car. We went down the road. And I felt, and I know it's because of the healing and everything that I've set up above. The difference, and I think it's been 3 or 4 days, the difference in how I was feeling was reflected in the people that I was seeing. Everybody was saying hello. Nobody said hello 3 days ago because I was in a vibrational state of head down, what the fuck is going on? Because I had internal stuff to deal with. It was about me. I had to sit and process why I was reacting to different things that were going around me, why I was feeling that person was whose sadness, and it was a sadness on me. Is that why my head is foggy? Yeah, absolutely. That moon, massive. There's massive different things. And it's all the stuff I'm talking about because you've got so much coming in right now that you're not allowing the healing and process. And when I said, what was that main point I said above that I'm just going to say it again. I don't even know why I have notes sometimes. My heart was opening up to process a present event. There's lots of present events that's happening around you, but you're actually healing past events. So the mind is foggy because it can't bring the clarity into what's actually happening right now through the disconnection, through the disillusion, through the disheartenment, through the grieving, through the fear, through the anxiety. There's a lot going on in our little bodies right now. And I know for me, the last 3 days have been like I've been really hitting the head. As I say that, I went out today and it was like I was a different person because I was feeling, I'm starting to feel connected again. I'm starting to process what I need to process. I'm starting to bring back, my energy is lifting because my God, I've been sleeping. I haven't slept so much in the last 4 or 5 days than I have in a very long time. And it's funny because I just realized breakthrough moment that I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock, and I was like vibrating high. I was like, so the processing was happening, the healing was happening, the moon, the one thing you got to realize about a Libra is that they take a long time, and when they come in, they explode, and then they go, and they come in and they explode, and then that's it, they're done. So there's a lot of healing going on inside of us right now. Let me know if that's making sense, guys. Yeah, the full moon is definitely, we feel it. We're so much water, especially right now. We've got so much water inside of us because we're dealing with so much that's happening. I think that's probably about it. So, I really want to, the next stage to bring ourselves into, and this is really helped with me get through all my resentment, I'm just searching for words, my anger, my fearfulness, my disheartenment, the abandonment that came up, the past wounds that came to the surface that I needed to heal, because, with anything, it's a beautiful healing stage right now. And then when I got to the acceptance, it's where I found my power. It's where I found my power, and I started to heal. I just want to tell you one more story, and when I realized that I was going into a really deep stage of like, what the hell? I remember flying when I was in the plane, and I was out of Bali, what was it now, 2.5 weeks ago, and I was flying into Brisbane Airport. And I just had that incident at the airport that I talked about, where I had the massive abandonment, and I was really fucking upset. And then, it was just anger, and there's lots of different emotions coming up. And then you'd think I'd be really happy. I'm coming home to my husband. I've been away for 2 months working in Bali with the retreats and everything else that we were doing. And then I started feeling the sense of more anger came in, because we had to cancel our Italy retreat. We had to cancel our Croatia. Yeah, Croatia retreat. I had to move New Zealand retreat that I had. It was today I was flying. Today I was flying to New Zealand today. Yesterday I was flying to New Zealand for 3 weeks to do some immersions, to do some retreats, to do some workshops, and I felt that I was getting angry again. And then as I was flying into Brisbane, some more things, my darkest fears started coming to light. My darkest fears around massive overwhelm. And you think I'd be happy, right? As I said, I'm coming home to my hubby, and I couldn't understand, I couldn't process at the moment. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm getting overwhelmed. And I realized that I wasn't ready to face the reality. I wasn't ready, and I felt disconnected. I felt overwhelmed. I felt really frightened to be landing. I actually felt fucking terrified. I was like, I don't want to land. I want to get on the next plane home. I actually do not want to land. Sorry, beautiful divine husband, but I don't want to. I don't know if I'm ready to face this. I don't know, because I've been living, remember I said, in that bubble. And this is probably what a lot of people are feeling as well, is the overwhelm, the fear, the anxiety, having to face what's actually happening right now. The heart is the healing place. It's the place of healing. And then when I was in the plane, I really sat and thought, what is going on? I want to land. I want to go see my family. And I realized that my past sexual abuse was coming up. I was connecting the feelings that were happening in that plane to having to face it. It was fucking time. There was no go back to that. I was actually the sexual abuse. I felt exactly the same when I realized a couple of years ago that I had to confront the sexual abuse head on. There was no hiding from it. There was no denial. There was no keeping that beautiful bubble around me, because it was time to actually face what was going on and what was going on underneath me, and to get into what I felt was a reality check. And my darkest fears were coming up. I've been in this beautiful vibrational state, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of you are probably feeling that as well. A lot of overwhelm, a lot of, oh my God, powerless, beautiful, listen, powerless, Lucina. But it's exactly how I was feeling. I was powerless. It was like, what the hell? So when I actually realized what was happening within me, once again, I had the acceptance. I could get the acceptance. You know, I could bring the unhealthy way I was feeling to the connection of my sexual abuse to what I was actually feeling. And it's funny when we have these different feelings and we're like, how can you hopping off a plane be the same as sexual abuse? Like, what? Because when you sit and you try to understand, it's good to bring in some sort of awareness that you can actually resonate with. Okay, so this is what's happening. So when I had the acceptance that these two emotions were so similar, and if I didn't process it and I didn't allow it to understand what was happening and really feel into it, then I was gonna feel like powerless. I was going to feel like I couldn't actually get back into my body. My heart started once again, it started doing that closing thing. It was like, oh dear God, what the hell? You know, because I was feeling very vulnerable. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling anxious. I was feeling frightened. You know, reality was coming face to face with the reality. So, you know, when I realized what was going on, I could actually have the sense of, okay, this is acceptance. So let's heal the now with what I know from the past. Let's heal the now with what was actually happened in the past and how I healed that. Because I had acceptance to what was actually going on right now instead of looking for some external thing. Oh, it's because that person's sitting too close beside me. She's making me feel overwhelmed. Oh, it's because the guy next to me is doing something or other. Or, you know, I'm going to have to walk through the airport and I'm going to feel like, ugh. No, that wasn't what was going on. I had to tap into really what was going on within me. Okay, is that resonating? So what we need to do now is and it's not that we need to tap into things that have happened behind. I'm just giving you examples that you can go, okay, so you can look a little bit deeper to what's happening right now. I don't want you to think that, oh God, I've got to go into some traumatic trauma event that's actually happened to bring awareness to what's happening right now. I'm just sharing with you me because that's what I do. So you can really you can start to feel into, okay, so how do I go into acceptance? How do I go into the space of really, you know, understanding the vulnerability of what's happening? Okay, so I'm feeling like this because I'm feeling really vulnerable right now. So why am I feeling vulnerable right now? Okay, well, something's been taken away from me and I don't like it. Cool, great freaking awareness. It can be as simple as that. It can be as simple as that because now you can accept it and you can move through it and you can heal with it. Does that make sense? So please don't think that you have to go into, I'm just giving you, I mean, I've done a lot of, I've done a lot of inner work to understand how I'm feeling right now. And it's not that I'm saying that I've done more work than anybody else. I'm just saying that the awareness that I have now is, it's really a space of accepting that this is who I am. And this is what I'm going through. And this is what I want to bring to you, is a real acceptance of this is reality right now. And we have to move through it in the space of really honoring ourselves and our emotions. And we have to let the grieving process take place. We have to be vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable with our community. And right now we're sitting in a place of, this is a fucking divine community. There's over 900 people in this group who are all sitting in the same place. And if we can start to share and be really vulnerable with what's happening, and we can be okay to allow ourselves to be seen and be witnessed, because a lot of the time we don't allow ourselves to be witnessed. We sort of spend and I know this was a big thing for me, you know, allowing myself to be seen after, you know, sexual abuse, after abandonment, after all these big things that happened to me a few years ago was hard. You know, vulnerability was hard. For me to sit here and talk to you about the different things that happened in my past, no way. There was no way that was going to happen, you know. But now I get to a space that I know that I can actually be witnessed, and it's okay to be witnessed in my snotty mess. You know, like I started crying earlier on. It's okay. It's beautiful. It means I'm growing. So there's some really beautiful, we're going to get onto the soul work now. So there's some really beautiful tasks. I started with 2 and it ended up with 4. I added 2 this morning. You know me. And if you haven't tried this, guys, you have to try it. It's really link. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some beautiful soul work. And I'm really I'm really excited for what comes through from this. And I will post this after I hop off the live. And when I hop off this live, don't forget that Maya's going to come straight on. She's going to do a live just to explain a little bit more about the COVID. If you can't be on live, that's fine. It'll be in the group, so you can just tap into it whenever you need to. But I really encourage you to watch it. And it'll probably be 10, 15 minutes. It won't be long. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring some beautiful soul work into after every single live we do. And don't forget the lives are announced at the top of the page. We're going to do 2 days of hearts. I'm going to come on tomorrow again at the same time. Then we're going to have even and again, we're going to have a day for you guys just to rest and to feel into it and do the work. So if you get a little bit behind, that's okay. Don't stress. But make sure you're doing every single task, and make sure there's that carrot there at the end of it. If there's about 6 or 8 prizes, and it's up to $10,000. So that's for me to really keep you accountable, and I want to keep you accountable in the most beautiful way. So what I want you to do is, and don't worry about writing this down because I'll post this straight after. So we're going to journal around what I've just spoken about, and we're going to really do some connection work. And task 1, I'm going to read these. Who, what, where, when is the reality of my heart in the content of the COVID-19 right now. So where am I sitting? And do this with just beautiful awareness. Okay, so I'm sitting in a space of XYZ. Write out all the things that you're willing to accept right now that are holding a heavy burden in your heart. Let's get it out. Let's get it out, because when we get it out, we can process it, and that awareness can come in, and then we can release it. Just get it out. Okay, so what are you willing to accept right now? Like me, I was willing to accept that I had these emotions coming that I didn't really understand. Like, what the hell? And task 2 is what about my heart right now can I observe and be curious about? Now, you know I love this, because when you're an observer and when you're in a curious space, then I just saw Emma's. I miss Huggles with you too. Oh, I know, that's the biggest, that's the connection. So with that, you need to get connection from in here. So you can't actually physically touch somebody, but you can physically open yourselves up to them. And we're all hugging you. The whole earth is hugging you when you allow this work to happen. So lean in on this community. This is why Maya and I are doing this. So task 2, what about my heart right now can I observe and be curious about? What can I be curious about? Imagine you're that bird and you're floating over yourself and you're just looking down and you're going, wow, that's really interesting. What do I know about my heart and what can I learn from it? Great awareness. Beautiful. Oh, I love that question. Task 3, where are you going to allow yourself to be vulnerable moving forward in life and allow growth and connection with community? Community is so important right now. It's what everybody is craving for, because we can't get out into the big wide world, and we need to allow the connection through this, things like this. And task 4, Lamar and I love this one. It's just over the next 48 hours, just be observant of your heart and what you're feeling with zero criticism or judgment. Okay, if you feel yourself in a place of judgment, switch to a place of openness and listening. How beautiful is that? So, I actually tell some of my clients to put little sticky notes around their house, in their bathroom, in their kitchen, in their lounge. If you feel yourself in a vulnerable place, switch it to a place of openness and listening. So how can I be open and listening to what my heart's feeling right now? If you feel you're in a place of vulnerability, but you stop yourself and push it down, ask why. Why am I doing that? That's really interesting. Get curious. Get curious with no attachment to the outcome. What are you afraid of? Find the power in the growth of sharing. If you need to grieve, allow it. It's a beautiful process. So is anger. There is no emotion that's not a beautiful process. Allow them. Allow them all. Because it's the healing that happens when you do. Like, I got really pissed off the other day when I went out. I was like, what? That was my first emotion, was anger. And then it went to resentment of the people around me. And I'm like, what is going on? So, what I want you to do as well is that when you've done those tasks, I want you to share in the community. I want you to do a post, and this will be their hashtag day 1 reclaiming, so we can make sure that we keep accountable, because for the prizes at the end. Just share a little bit about, if you want to share on every single task, that's great. If you want to share on one, if you want to share one line, if you want to share a photo, if you want to share something motivational with one line, it doesn't matter what you share, just show up. Because with you sharing, you're actually helping. you're actually helping other people. They can go, wow, that's come up for me. Great. Oh, I resonate. So then they can go to a vulnerable state with themselves. You're allowing people to grow. When you share, you're allowing. When you share, you're building. When you share, you're really opening yourself up to the community. Holy shit balls, it's been nearly an hour. Okay, we're going to go. So Maya's going to come on after this. She's going to come on live in the group. And she's just going to share the first part of it, just to bring you a little bit more awareness. So watch out for that. I'm hoping that she's going to come through. And what I'll do is I'll go on and I'll answer in the meantime, because I've been an hour, all the different questions that you guys have asked. So keep asking it. Also, I'll edit this and just put on, I'll have a look at when we actually started, because there was a lot in the start. Are there tasks separate from the workbook download? No. So just the reason why we haven't filled that in as much is that we really shift and move, Maya and us. We shift and move to the group, and so when you're posting, when you're commenting, when you're on the lives, we don't have a stock standard way we do things. We shift and move to what the community needs. So if we went and put in a task in those notebooks, then it could possibly change. Yes, and sharing allows you to be seen. Amen, sister. We're all heart and legs in this group. Honestly, there is no one that is ever going to judge anyone, ever. We're all in exactly the same beautiful place, whether it's anger, whether it's resentment, wherever it is. But let's start to shift to that beautiful place of healing through our inner wisdom. With inner wisdom, we heal. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming on live, and thank you so much for putting up with the technical difficulties at the start. I just want to honour every single one of you for being here, and I cannot wait to share the second part of day 2 tomorrow at the same time, and also to be in a space of seeing what you guys come through with. I'm really excited, and just make sure you do it from a really loving space, guys. This is a place where we need to be curious, we need to be observant, and we need to be understanding with ourselves, because you're grieving. Now, when you're grieving, you don't beat yourself up, do you? You can bring the awareness into it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, my gorgeous ones, I am sending you so much love as always, and see you tomorrow. Mwah.